Hey everyone. Okay, we are on lesson 12.3 and we're also going to do lesson 12.4 today. Both of these lessons are going to teach you about two different ways to display data and then be able to look at it and answer some questions. The video you'll watch for the lessons today also goes over 12.3 and 12.4. Okay, so let's get started. This first lesson is on dot plots and frequency tables. And I know that you've done a little bit with dot plots. I remember teaching 5th grade and we did some dot plots in 5th grade. So I know you have some experience with this, but we're going to go through this. So up here at the top, it has a little description. A dot plot displays data by placing dots above a number line. Each dot represents one data value. Okay, so let's get started and let's try one out and let's see how this looks. Okay, so Paloma sells produce at the farmer's market. The chart shows the number of pounds of produce she sells each day. What was the most common number of pounds of produce that Paloma sold? Okay, I'm going to read that question again. What was the most common number of pounds of produce that Paloma sold? Okay, so step 1 tells us, draw a number line with an appropriate scale. The chart contains numbers from 11 to 20, so use a scale from 10 to 20. So all they did is they looked at the data and said, what's the biggest and what's the smallest? And the smallest was 11 and the biggest was 20, so we can use a line plot that goes from, it could have been 11 to 20, and that would be fine too. I think they just put 10 on there because it's easy. So they made the number line, 10 through 20, and then the next thing they're going to start doing is step 2 here. For each data value in the chart, plot a dot above the number on the number line. The first data value in the chart is 15. So the dot is placed above 15 on the number line. So this was just the first step, okay? This next part is after we've added the other dots that were up here in the table, okay? So complete the dot plot for the other values in the table. Since there are 16 data values, there should be 16 dots. So when you do this, you should count and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Always want to check yourself to make sure you have all of the information you need. Okay, and then step 3, the number of pounds of produce Paloma sells most often is the value with the most dots. So remember, each of these numbers in this table was the pounds sold, the number of pounds sold to somebody at one time. So this was basically like saying she sold 16 people things, and these were the amounts of pounds each customer bought. Okay, so in this we can see that the value that has the most dots is 15. So 5 customers bought $15 worth of things. So that's basically saying 5 customers bought $15 worth of produce at a time. That makes sense? Not all at the same time, but that's just the most common pound amount of produce she would sell. Okay, so we could finish with their sentence. So Paloma most often sells 15 pounds of produce. Okay, so let's go down and try some. Okay, and I'm going to have to adjust my camera just a teeny bit. Okay, so here is the bottom part of this. This would be awesome to take notes on. Okay, so you have an example when you get to do your homework. So it just says the same thing. Use the data in the chart at the right. So complete the dot plot. Down here, they've already made us the number line. They went from 25 to 35. They based it off of the data that's in this chart. Looks like they found the lowest to be 25 and the highest was 35. So they just did from 25 to 35. Okay, so now we need to put all of these on our dot plot. Okay. So I'm just going to start with the first one, and then I like to cross them out once I've done them. So 26, I'm going to come over here to 26 and put a dot. Cross off 26. 32, 35, 29, 30, 26. I know this can be monotonous, but we just need to do it to be thorough. 25, 29, 28, 31, oh, didn't mark it off, 29, 26, 35. Notice I'm trying to keep the dots in the same like level. It's not always going to work when you do it by hand. Do your best. 28. 26. Whoa, I'm falling over. Sorry. Cameraman's not doing his job. Oh, wait, that's me. And 30. Okay. So then the question is, what is the most common number of cars sold per month? So making sure, this said number of cars sold per month. Number of cars sold per month. What do you guys think? 26. 26 cars sold per month. Easy enough? These are basically the questions you're going to be asked. Okay? All right. Now, give me just a second. I'm going to switch it out and we're going to do 12.3 as well. I'm sorry, 12.4. We just did 12.3. Okay. So this one is histograms. Okay. I don't know if any of you have heard of a histogram before. This is just another way to display data. This one looks a lot like a bar graph. So I think as we get going, you'll see what I mean by that. So just one second. I got to flip open some stuff. Okay. So let's read up at the top there. A histogram looks like a bar graph without spaces between the bars. When you have data to organize, it is helpful to group the data into intervals and let each bar show the frequency or number of data in that interval. Okay, so let's start with this example right here. It says, complete the frequency table below using the data to the right. That's over here in this table. Then make a histogram. So step 1 says, sort the data into each interval. Only the 4, one value, is in the interval 1 through 4. So they made a table down below where they said, oh, let's make a, let's say all of those are 1 through 4. So anytime there's 1 through 4 in here, you would put it in the section there's only 1. Okay? 5 through 9. Let's see, 5 through 9. I can see 1, 2. Looks like there's only 2, so they put 2 in there. So I just want you to keep in mind, you would have to do this for yourself. It might tell you the intervals already, and then you have to find the information and put in this part of the graph. I mean the table. Okay. 10 through 14. Again, you look through all this data. How many of those do you have that are 10 through 14? It looks like we have 1 and 14 is right there, so 2 of them. 15 through 19. You look through. There are 5 data points, and then 20 through 24. So you count how many of those are 20 through 24, and there are 10 of them there. Okay, so that's that first step. The second step, we're going to keep this frequency table right where we can see it, because now we've collected all this data, we've organized it into a different way, but all of these points are made sure they're accountable here. And one thing to check that would be to count these up and then count these up. So there were 20 of them here, and we have 10. That gives me 5. So 5 and 5 is another 10. We have 20. So I know I've accounted for all these data points. Okay. And then they did that right here to make sure you just check yourself. Okay. Number 3. Sorry, I keep moving up and down. Number 3, make the histogram of the data. Use a vertical scale for 0 to 12. Notice right here, 0 to 12. Why did they pick 0 to 12? Well, because we only have the highest we have is 10, but the lowest we have is 1. So this is the frequency. This one only frequented once. This one frequented twice. This one frequented twice. This one frequented 5 times. And this section frequented 10 times. So that's where they got those numbers. 0 to 12 is because our highest was 10. Okay? Along the bottom, they put those sections of frequency, the 0 to 4, 5 to 9 that we got from this table. Okay? Okay, so we'll make that histogram. We're going to label each one, make sure, because look down below. We are going to have to do our own down here. It's blank. So be ready. We got this. And then what they just did is they did a different color every time, like a dark color and a light color, and you're going to want to do this on your own. But they found 1 because in 0 to 4 it was only 1. So they just colored it up to 1. And then this bar they made up to 2 because there were 2. The next section there were 2. The next section there were 5. The next section there were 10. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Each of these sections is what we have in the table. Okay, so we made smaller sections for all of this data, and then we are plotting the number or using a bar to show the frequency of that section. Okay, you might be able to answer questions with that when you would say like, well, so how many people watched 14 hours or less? And you could say down below, you take all these places, it'd be 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. Okay, that's the kind of question we might answer. All right, so let's do one on our own now. Okay. Let me see if I can straighten that out a little bit better. Okay, so for 1 and 2, use the table below. So here is our data that's been collected. We need to complete the frequency table of the data. So they've already broken it up into sections for us. 0 to 19, 20 to 39, 40 through 59, and 60 through 79. Okay, and then we're going to make a histogram over here. So the attribute that we're looking at is minutes on a treadmill each day. So how many of these data points, and think about this would have been like a person who said these things, were 0 to 29. So I'm going to go through, 0 to 19. So there's 1, and I'm going to mark it off. 1. You got to look really close. Sometimes I make mistakes. Okay, I have 1. Okay. Anybody 20 through 39. So 20 through 39, that's a little bit bigger, but here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. So I have 9 in there. Okay, you see how I did that? Sorry, I know it's slow, and right now you're like, oh my heck, I can do this faster, Ms. Clark, but you need to make sure you do these steps, okay? All right, 40 through 59. So here's a 43. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And then 60 through 79. So I'm going to come through here. No, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay, I'm going to check myself real quick. So I had 20 pieces of data. 10 and 10 give me 20. So I have all of my pieces of data accounted for down here. And now I need to make my histogram. So now remember how up here we had to decide the vertical line, what that was going to be. We're going to say this would be our frequency side, right? And I'm just going to draw it like this. Okay, and what do we want to make it? Let's see. To 10, do you think? So we could do 1 through 10, but I think I'm going to pick 2, 4. I'm going to try to make them as even as I can. 6, 8, and then 10. Now remember, a little in between each one of those would be a step up, right? Obviously, this would be 0 right down here. Okay, my first section right here, and if you want, you could make a line that goes all the way across so that our bars can meet up, and you just do the best you can. And if you had line paper to practice on or take your notes, that would be great, like in your notebook right now that you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so let's look right here, over here. We have got 4 sections. So I'm going to break it up into 4 sections, and I'm just going to put little sections down here along the bottom so that I can see where I'm going to write these. So I'm going to put 0 to 19 right here, 20 to 39, 40 to 59, and 60 through 79. Okay, makes sense? So technically right here would be like the end of my box. Okay, so I only have 1 right in there, so I'm going to just bring this line up and go about right here and color it in. It's about 1, okay, the best you can do. Okay, 20 through 39, there were 9, so I'm going to come all the way up here and make that line come up, And I'm just going to make this like a clear box. I'm just going to leave it just like that. Okay. 40 to 59 was to 5. So I'm going to come to about here. And then I'm going to color it in. Okay. And then 60 through 79 was also 5. So we're going to put it right there. And then I can, if I needed to answer a question about this, I could come in and say, like, how many people, how many minutes is normal for people to ride that go between 20 and 39. And I could come right here and I said that of the data given, 9 people fell into the section of 20 to 39 minutes on a treadmill. Make sense? Okay, now you're going to go watch the video from the teacher that we've been watching the last 2 days, and she does some from 12.3 and 12.4 to get you ready. And we're going to do both of those assignments today. And you are going to have that done so quick. It's going to be great. Don't stress. Just take your time. And then tomorrow we're going to just review what we've learned so far in the chapter. Okay? All right. Like always, love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.